stop bringing up Congress. I'm
not saying that.
Individuals who've been prosecuted in certain states for being fraudulent electors, they literally signed forms saying, I am the dutifully elected elector from the state of Wisconsin.
And he asked people to do that. That's what you're saying.
He got them.
Where's the evidence of that?
And then what do you think he wanted Mike Pence to do? What do You're being really smug about this. Do you understand why it's bad to try to block the peaceful transfer of power?
Time out.
Okay, no, hold on. I'm smug about this because
you don't care about maintaining the core process of
I don't know anything about what I care about, so I don't know where you get off.
Your tone makes it very clear you don't care.
My tone comes from the fact that you continue bringing up January 6th over and over and over and over.
It's not just about that day. Would you like me to explain it to you?
Yes.
Whenever someone loses an election and doesn't have any overwhelming evidence or any evidence at all of outcome determinative voter fraud, and then justifies, and I can't wait for you to pull the thing that I know you're going to pull up, because every person thinks they're going to dispute what I'm saying by pulling it up, and I'll say it doesn't at all refute it. But then you go through multiple allegedly illegal schemes that now he's not going to be prosecuted for because he's becoming president, but to block the peaceful transfer of power. Just forget January 6th for a second. The fake elector scheme that she wanted to talk about is an example of him trying to get unlawful people who did sign forms saying we're the lawful electors, and then he was pressuring Mike Pence to accept those as the real electors so that Trump could stay president despite losing the election.
You're going through the details about the January 6th, the things that led up to January 6th, the illegal actions that led up to January 6th, as opposed to the political violence. So you're bringing up the bad.
No,
right. So when you talk,
why do you keep bringing up January 6th? I'm explaining it's actually not just about the violence. The more consequential democratically thing
I have a question.
Is the illegal schemes or trying to get the Brad Raffensperger. Yes,
this is what I want to talk about. Yeah, she's about to intellectually commit right-wing violence.
How many? So you're having a problem with Democrats not admitting the election? Like Hillary Clinton did say that the election was stolen. She always says
Russia collusion, Russia,
illegitimate, right? And then we had actual members of Congress.
Just, do you want to explain it, or can I just explain to you now why that's not at all?
Why is it not the same?
I'm not bringing up, even though I think it was vile because they were doing it because of lies, I'm not bringing up the fact that senators objected or Congress people objected to the results. That actually is a power they have in Congress. I'm talking about fraudulent electors. The fact that distinction is not one that y'all understand.
So
is
semantics. Semantics.
What?
So you're saying it's okay for Democrats to object to election results.
First, let me explain the Electoral College to you. So you're talking about the certification of the electoral count.
Correct.
We got here because of political violence, not because of procedural stuff.
That's not what you're talking about. No. Which one would you like me to address?
We got here because of political violence, and you moved it to procedure.
Because you multiple times have taken shots about my fixation with January 6th, which I'm fixated, so that's why I want to talk about it. And to your point, you're talking about whenever members of Congress, which is a part of their constitutional authority, it's bad to wield that authority when you don't have a basis to, but they do have the ability to object to the electoral count.
Their constituents on January 6th were asking their representatives to do that. That's what that was.
Okay, and I haven't brought up once members of Congress objecting.
No, but why do you think the people were there?
So
the people were wanting their elected members to do that. They're asking them. That's why they're protesting.
So you're completely mixing up two completely different things altogether. That is the electoral count being certified. I'm talking about a president getting people to assert themselves as the electors, the actual electors. Not let's dispute the certification of the election, but let's get illegal electors counted as the Electoral College. Please tell me that separation makes sense in your brain.
That makes sense, but
that's what Trump tried to do.
That's not what he tried to do.
It is so overwhelmingly that he doesn't even deny it.
He's asking people. He said this was a fraudulent election, and
stop bringing up Congress. I'm
not saying that.
Individuals who've been prosecuted in certain states for being fraudulent electors, they literally signed forms saying, "I am the dutifully elected elector from the state of Wisconsin."
And he asked people to do that. That's what you're saying.
He got them.
Where's the evidence?
And then what do you think he wanted Mike Pence to do? What do you think he wanted Mike Pence to do?
He wanted Mike Pence to do
two indictments. That's where the evidence is.
He wants him to assert his power like Congress and not certify the election.
He wanted Mike Pence
the ability to
say
do that.
He was counting the non-electors that weren't lawfully sent by the states.
Let me say
random people.
Do you know how many?
It's crazy y'all are okay with that. Imagine that's what Biden started doing.
Wait a minute.
Were you
okay?
understand?
Wait a minute.
Is that crazy?
I'm
to you?
fascinated by the fact that this conversation has turned to January 6th.
Wait, were you okay
I
with?
will talk about this every time until y'all admit
You will
trying to
drive-
block
you will-
the peaceful transfer of power is bad.
You
yes.
will drive
Will
the
you admit that
conversation to
boarding
this.
up the walls
because
in
this is
I will.
one particular thing that we were talking about political violence,
I can
and now
explain
we've trained from political violence that on the left versus the right to procedure about January 6th.
Yeah. Procedure. Oh, okay. Let's all take a breath together. First, I
You
want to.
cannot change you're trying to deflect the fact that you went from we were talking about violence and you changed
You are the one
subject.
who brought up January 6th when I alluded to that violence.
Because you're the one that
As an
brought up
example.
January 6th because she asked you for 3 options,
Yeah, and I gave
one
one
of them was January 6th, and so we started
I
talking
think
about
that's
the
the most-
violence on
one of the
January
most
6th,
notable
and then you
examples of
said, "Well, no,
political violence
let's
in American
talk
history."
about the illegal actions of President Trump."
Yeah.
All right, wait. Time out.
That's changing the subject from political
Because
violence
I said, do you
to
wanna- I
the
said-
procedure
we did
that was.
digress. I'm gonna.
You know why though? Because you went. All you can think about January 6th. Sorry, I don't want to do your voice. That's silly. And I went and I was.
He has to do that because we know that the left-wing political
I'll
violence is
that's
way more prevalent
exactly
than the
why.
right-wing.
Even
That's
though you
why.
have
That's
to-
why.
you have
That's
no-
why I
you
stopped
have
talking.
no
and
We
letting
have
you
a
research
peaceful
to indicate
transition
that-
of conversation to move on from
I know
that
you were
fact.
looking up earlier. Can you show them the research on political violence? Because y'all keep really having a difficult.
I want to see how they
So
determine it. Anyway.
the two things that he
But wait,
did
wait.
mention before. Hold on a second.
But we can
The two
name
things that-
30. You can
Lisa,
barely name 3.
Hold on.
Anyway.
Wait,
The
I don't
three
care about
thing-
the anecdotes. I care about
three
the
thing-
actual.
Hold on.
Right, the data.
Hold on.
Yeah, the data.
Hey, hold on. The 3 things that he mentioned, right? So there was the Mark Kelly's wife. I forget what her name was. Where she was shot. Right. And then there was
Paul
what's the
Pelosi.
second? Paul Pelosi.
Yep.
Both of those people, they were as much as he's going to say they were politically motivated. It's likely that they were not politically motivated in the same way.
Are you actually kidding
in
me?
the same
Pelosi?
Stop.
The guy literally
Stop.
said, "I need to make Nancy
Stop.
Pelosi answer
Stop.
for the stolen
Stop.
election." He
Stop.
literally said that.
Stop.
Where do you think that
Stop.
comes from?
Gay
Stop.
lover.
Paul Pelosi, Paul Pelosi's attacker, and the other person. I believe they were in their or he was in his underwear or something. So they were both mentally ill people. If they were politically motivated, they were not politically active people that were involved in consistent, consistent political activities. They were both wrong. They were both absolutely wrong, and they both did make remarks about politics. But when you say that the right is more responsible for political violence, that's ignoring things like all of the bombings in the 70s by the Weather Underground, right? The multiple times the 2 times in the 80s that Congress itself was bombed, the 2 times that Congress itself was bombed in the 80s, that Bill Clinton went and
Let me know when I can respond.
well, the point that I'm making is you're saying that, it's political violence when you're dealing with individuals, right? That are, obviously they're bad, condemn it, and they did make remarks about politics. But that's not the same thing as these things don't rise to the level of an entire summer of political violence. The murders that have happened by people on the
Stores
left.
destroyed, like cities destroyed because who wants to move to a
Those are
city?
included in the studies I'm talking
But I
about.
also want to point out that violence is just way more accepted on the left. For example, and I put this clip as like the second link on the doc I sent you if we want to pull it up. Nick Fuentes is banned off so many things. He doesn't actually literally say like you should die and all these. He makes jokes and stuff, but Destiny was dead serious. He's still fine. He's still on every single platform because it's okay. You can call for literal death as long as you're a left winger.
That's true.
It's true.
Can I just have like a little bit of just a little gap of time to quickly go through a couple?
Yeah, go ahead.
Take it
your
away,
time.
Luke.
Okay.
Don't let anybody
First of all,
interrupt him.
I
Let him
totally
finish.
agree. Disgusting that Destiny said that.
Yes.
Also, I would love to explain at some point my framework of random people online versus people in positions of power and the difference there. That I agree. Anyone across the political spectrum advocating for violence would be bad. To your point, I don't know how to. I don't really know where to go other than saying I've researched this over and over, and every time this is analyzed, it just is the case. Even with the instances you're talking about, which I oppose, that right-wing political violence is more prevalent. But then on why I focus so much on January 6th and the trying to block the peaceful transfer of power, you did reference you're obsessed with that, which is why I wanted to explain why I'm obsessed with it, because I don't think any policy issue matters if we don't all agree on our democratic process, and that's what Trump disputed. Trump actually thinks he should have had just gotten a second term, even though he lost the election. That's super anti-democratic. The illegal schemes that we're having a difficult time apparently understanding are the ones that I'm pointing to justify that. And then, is there anything else that I haven't addressed from what you said?
Let me just interject.
And then I would love to talk about the political rhetoric violence.
So let me just say something. So what the data that you're talking about that you researched, can you be honest about what the time frame was? Because the time frame is between 1948 and 2022 that they were looking at it. So we're talking about political violence on the right. It was Islamic extremists, then it was the right wing, and then it was the left wing, and that's over that broad span of time. That's not talking. They never broke it down into these recent years, right? Since like 2008 and above. Like if you look at the data, that's what they're looking at. It says it here. 2 years ago, team of researchers.
I've seen all sorts of different time
from
spans.
4 universities examined court records and other data relating to 3,500 extremist active events in the U.S. between 1948 and 2022. And that's when they said that they were split into 3 groups, left wing, right wing, and related to Islamic extremism. And it said that the most extremist was the right wing, and then the left wing came in a distant third. And so when they're talking about like, oh, we have to be concerned about left wing political violence, they're talking about like over this like broad span.
Or do you mean right wing political violence?
Right wing,
right? Okay.
Sorry, but they're talking about over this broad span of time. But if you look at it, like we can name. The Summer of Love, there was a riot every whatever. Nobody talks about the church, right? And Trump having to go into a bunker. Like that's fine by the left. We can't talk about
You're not aware of that?
You don't know about.
No, I remember when he went to the bunker. Yeah.
Right, when he went into the bunker and they were bombing like the building across from. Everybody says it was St. John's Church, but it was like actually the building across the street that they did. Right.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah.
But we're not talking about the shooting on.
I am talking about all those things.
Let me keep going. We're not talking about the shooting. Well, in general, I'm talking. The left in general seems to.
It's just y'all's social media echo chamber is not going to contextualize the stories you're talking about.
What context is needed that they're like burning down buildings?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Congressmen are getting assaulted left and right.
I'm just saying I don't really want to go off of like and I oppose all of that.
It's more prevalent.
What happened?
Like it's more prevalent. Like you can't
in your social media.
No, not
in
social
the
media.
real world.
That's why we have
in America
research
this happened.
institutions
In
so we can figure out if it's just a
left loves
vibe
their
or if it's
research
real.
institutions
But
that back up whatever they want to say. They can find
why
a
do you
study
think
to
they
prove
went back to
anything they want.
1948? Right? Why do you think they went?
You're talking about one. Go find any other.
No, this is the one that everybody quotes. AP, right?
You think one institution has
no.
They
used 4 institutions. This is what this is saying. So this is an AP article debunking that the Heritage Foundation leader was wrong to say that most of the violence is committed by the left. And they're all that their AP is citing over and over again are these studies, these 4 studies that they did. That's what the whole left-wing media relies on is these.
It's not true. Okay.
Well then find something that you pull it up. But like that's where the statistics come from. Them analyzing these 3,500 instances of political violence. And so you have Chaz occupation, right? You have like we could just name them all off the top of our heads, but you name me 3 and the one was like barely anything, but like you can't name 15 like I'm doing. Right, like it is that, and you can't.
Yeah, so
there were MAGA people
every night for months in a row.
Like literally, Google. Don't get obsessed with this because it's just the first thing that popped up. This one is not any of the ones you referenced.
What's it relying on?
National Institute of Justice, and this is since 1990. So this is much more recent, 1990 to 2020, wherever.
2020 what?
Maybe you could link it in the doc roll.
Yeah, I could send it. And it's the same thing. I don't know why it's fun. We can all just be like, hey, it happens. Right-wing violence is more prevalent.
You say it's more prevalent.
It is.
So we're disputing that.
Where?
We're disputing that.
Where?
So no.
The only thing that
Oh my gosh. It's welcome to social media. You're not going to be shown it because you don't want that.
No, you can't name it. You can't.
Okay,
name it.
I'll give you more examples.
Please,
since
you don't. I want you to
need
name all that you can
anecdotes
think
so
of.
badly instead of just accepting data.
Because
But
what happened?
Fine.
So
I can't give you the particular names of the shooters, but more often than not, when there's a politically motivated mass shooting, it's a right-wing one. It's against.
That's not true.
What about the one at the
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.